Very nice.
Yeah, so it's good. Well, it's great to meet you. I'm looking forward to getting into your life as an author and an educator. So again, thank you for taking a minute out.
Oh, sure. Thank you for inviting me to be a guest on your podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's begin with a topic that we're all getting tired of, I know, which is COVID. But there was so much that changed all of us. So
hmm
how did you make it through that approximate 4-year window, and how did it change the way that you do things now?
Actually, by then, I retired in 2019 as a high school principal, but then I went into coaching teachers. So,
Yeah.
I don't know so sure if you're familiar with the California system. You go and get, you have a degree, and then you go back and get your teaching credential. And in 2019, that first semester was still um, classes at the university. At that time, I was at UC Berkeley working with student teachers. And then 2020 hit, and then we went all online, of
Yeah.
course. And it just didn't stop in terms of in education. You just keep going. There's
Yeah.
no stopping. It's
Yeah.
like you just have to keep, the kids are going to have to keep on learning, and we got to keep figuring out how to work with them. So, working with so as a coach, or I'll call myself a coach in that sense, and working with these student teachers, I had to start working with them online. They had to start learning how to teach online, and then
Yeah.
I would observe them online and
Wow.
give them feedback. So I saw them in the classroom, like I said, in 2019, that first semester, but second semester, going online with them, at least I was able to see them in person and give them feedback. But it was a challenge for them, definitely, because the kids didn't have access to some of the technology, the Chromebooks. I mean, I remember thinking, yeah, even at the school site that I was at South San Francisco High School, we only had class sets. So how do you give access to all students and distribute out Chromebooks of some sort, books of some sort? Um, but they made it through. And then, of course, the second year going in now 2020, 2021, 2021, 2022, I was observing teachers,
Yeah.
the teacher candidates online, and I would have to give them feedback through the recording. And then they had to actually teach online
Yeah.
and do these breakout rooms. And, I would work with them like, how do you engage your kids? Um, what about the kids that aren't showing their faces? Um, is there any expectations with that? Um, Attendance, how do you get them to attend? There, if the kids are online all day, because that's what a typical day would be like, um, then they're just sitting down
Yeah.
at the computer the whole time. And the teachers would say, no, we're just going to have to do some synchronous, asynchronous, and keep it going. But
Yeah.
everything changed. But now we're back in
Yeah.
terms of back in the classroom. I still do visits virtually, some virtual, some on site. Um, I think there's a lot of student teachers that know how to record themselves on video, so it's not as challenging as it was before.
Yeah. It was challenging. So let's get to the heart and soul of what you do right now in 2024. I'm going to put you in front of a bunch of third grade students. It's career day, and one of the kids is curious and says, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" How do you answer them?
I would say I was a teacher. I was a teacher. I was a principal, and now I wrote a book. I'm an author, and I coach. I continue to coach teachers and administrators. So if you want to learn how to write a book, it's not hard to do. You can even start as a little kid, as as a third grader, and write a book.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So what did you want to be when you were in the third grade? What was your dream?
I didn't really think about that. I mean, I
Yeah.
think everything was just local. I don't think I was even looking at careers really until um, middle school.
Yeah.
I thought about being a vet. I loved animals. And
Yeah.
then I thought about going into a career in medicine or in the health field. And then I studied biology. And then I loved teaching biology. And that's where it came out as teaching biology students.
So take me back to where you were born and raised, and what were some of the foundational seeds and elements that were planted into you that made you want to teach, that made you want to write eventually? What were some of these things that were harvested?
Ah, well, I think it was more recent, not so much as a kid.
Yeah,
I didn't think about really teaching at all. I was working when I was in school at the university with my undergrad, it was biology, and I was thinking, okay, I'm going to continue with this health career. And then I was working in the hospital, and then transitioned with the university. I was at San Diego State, and they had a posting up on the wall saying if you want to work with, be a mentor for undergrads, and if you want to work with as a peer advisor, where you get to go to the schools and help these incoming freshmen, or just help them with applications. And I got the job, and that's what got me into the education world. And I thought, God, I really like working with these kids, because I'm one of the kids that kind of fell through the cracks.
yeah,
Um, I didn't get any counseling in high school. I never got called out to ask me what career do I want to go into. I didn't know I had to take the SAT. I didn't know I had to have a certain GPA. I mean, really, people were asking, how'd you do on the SAT? And I thought, what's an SAT? Did I miss something? And then I look at I didn't know, I'm not supposed to guess. And so, of course, my score was low. It was like 800, and that was really low.
yeah,
But that's what made me want to go into education and work with kids to help them navigate the school system.
yeah. So who's been a
Yeah.
hero? Who's been an inspiration for you in your life?
Well, of course, my parents,
Yeah,
of course, them, and then there's a lot of there's a lot of heroes.
yeah,
I have a lot of good mentors that have really helped me, um, just help me through the ropes of understanding and navigating.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can't just name one
Sure.
person, but there's so many.
So let me ask you this. If you could meet anybody alive on the planet right now that you admire or find fascinating, you spend some time with them and it might be a real self-edifying kind of moment, who would you love to meet?
Good question. Mm, I can't really think of anybody right
Okay.
now.
All right.
I
That's
mean,
fine.
yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. So let me ask you this. What is the motivator for you to continue to do the work that you do now and even before in education? What is that that gets you up every day that help because you have to give of yourself to help others
Mhm.
find where they need to be and to help them out. But you also have to evolve as a human. What is that
Right.
collective energy for you?
I think it's just looking at the why. What is my why? What is my purpose? And really looking deep in terms of what is it that I like, what drives me, as you say. I think about our future, the direction of our future. I always think of, um, well, in education, I think of if we have mediocre everything, then our country is going to be mediocre. So if you have mediocre administrators, then it's going to trickle down to mediocre teachers, and then the teachers are going to be mediocre teaching students, and eventually these mediocre students will become adults, and then we have a mediocre country. So I just think that it's really important to give, um, to give, and just give kind of unconditionally of myself. Mentoring people, um, helping, helping. It's like helping everybody, just pull them up as we can. That's
Yeah.
what kind of drives me.
Yeah. So
And
I
then
see
just
all,
that social. Yeah, go
yeah,
ahead.
for sure. No, I was just going to say, I see all the books back there and you're an author. I'm curious, what was the book for you growing up that you loved? One of your favorite books?
One of my favorite books, I think, is The Giving Tree.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that wasn't so much that was more of an adult,
Sure.
that I liked it. But in terms of growing up, I liked looking at there was a puzzle book that I really liked,
Yeah.
um, and tongue twisters.
Yeah. Yeah. Good deal. So let me ask you this. What was the first, so when you decided to become a teacher, what
Mhm.
was the first moment where you saw the sparkle in someone's eyes and you knew that you found your calling? Was there a moment? Was there something that happened that made you, that validated this choice of yours?
I think it always happens. um, I mean, sure, I get that when a kid gets it, it's like, wow, they get it, and I'm having fun teaching. But I remember there was one student in, I taught mostly all high school throughout
Hmm.
my whole career. And there was one student that was in my chemistry class, and she just kept saying, I really don't understand it. And I really don't want to fail this class. And by then, I mean, she was getting D's throughout every test. And just sitting down with her and just saying, okay, you know what? Her name was Elizabeth. Elizabeth, meet with me every day. I'm going to walk you through, but I need to know, I'm going to kind of ask you, where did you get lost? Let's go backwards. Let's go back to chapter one. Did you understand chapter one? Do you understand the periodic chart? Do you understand? What do you tell me what you know? So kind of like letting her explain what she knew, and then moving forward from there. And then she really was able to figure it out.
Yeah.
And I was just super proud of her in terms of her results. She was able to get a B um, at the end of the semester. And that's what kind of sparked me, because she thought of going into the medical field, but she just says, I don't know if I can do the chemistry part. And I
Yeah.
said, don't let that scare you. I go, it scared me.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of courses scare me. And it's kind of, where did I, and it also, what also impacted me was if I had a good teacher that took the time to teach me or took the time to explain it and not just consider me as, you know, one of 500 kids, um, but really took the time to show me what I needed to understand, where I got lost. I think that makes a big difference, and I that's where I give most of my attention to. Is just, I don't want to be the one that turns off a student.
Yeah.
I want to be the one that turns on, that turns, makes it exciting.
Sure. So
Yeah.
let's stay in that realm of youth. Let's say you have a dream tonight. You run into the 18-year-old version of you. You can give that young version of you a piece of advice based on the life you've led, the wisdom you've gained along the way. What advice would you impart on that young version of you? And would that version of you listen?
I would say continue to pursue your dream. Um, don't be afraid to ask for help. Step out of uh, so giving myself advice, you're saying if I'm looking
Yeah.
back at 18 year old,
Yeah.
part of it is also the culture.
Yeah.
So my culture is Filipino American. So my dad and mom are from the Philippines. And so there's a lot of high respect
Yeah.
for adults and elders. So I would say, don't be afraid to talk to adults. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Um, don't be afraid to ask for a mentor.
Yeah.
Um, get involved in school. Don't wait for somebody to tap you on the shoulder um, to get involved.
Yeah.
Find your way to not just find a way to navigate, but if I don't know how to get there, how do I know what I'm missing out on?
Yeah.
Right? It's kind of like athletics. I mean, I remember going to the games and go, oh, volleyball. I like volleyball and PE,
Yeah.
but how do you get to be on the team?
Uh-huh.
Um, or I like cross country. I think it's cool to watch them. And I remember jumping the hurdles in PE, but how do you get to be on the team? And I
Yeah.
didn't know that, okay, in the announcements, tryouts, like, what are tryouts? I don't understand what tryouts are. It's just not one of those things that come to my mind. But it had a PE teacher tap me and said, or everybody, listen up. We have a team. If you want to join the team, try it.
Yeah.
If there was more of that kind of coaching along, I think I would have been way more involved.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, of everything that you've done and evolved into and achieved in your life, what are you the proudest of?
Well, there's the personal achievements, of
Yeah.
course, but I think just giving and seeing, planting of the seeds and knowing that it's somehow growing out there.
Yeah.
After all these years, I know I get people that reach out to me and say, I remember you, um, which is very near and dear
Yeah.
to my heart. And of course, well, that means a lot. I can talk about, my accomplishments, but those are my own accomplishments. And I don't want that to be I mean, it's part of who I am, but it doesn't hold me back to those titles or I don't know. I mean, I don't put my degrees on the wall I
Sure.
don't put things like that to remind me, oh, I got an award. Um, but I know I have it, but I want to make sure that I'm still giving.
Yeah, for sure. So at the end of the day, Cynthia, everyone has a perception of you, family, friends, clients, colleagues, all of your readers, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I think I'm a fun person to be around. Sure, I love education, but I also like this social aspect and bringing people together, and not just collaboration, but being inclusive, community, creating community, um, inviting people to meet each other.
Yeah,
So the networking. Um, so I think that's part of my perception of who I think I am, and then that creative side. I love the arts. Like I said, I love your background.
yeah,
So there's the arts side of it, the creative side, and then there's of course the science part of it of what I do, whatever it is. What I just love teaching.
yeah.
Um, yeah.
So if anyone wants to get your book, they want to reach out, hire you, any of the good business, where's the best place to go?
So they could get my first book. So I wrote my very first book, Joe. It's called Step Up Your School Leadership Game.
Uh-huh.
This is it.
Excellent.
And they can look me up under Cynthia Rapaido on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
That's me. And then also, that's also my Gmail. So if they want to email me, Cynthia Rapaido at Gmail
Okay.
is the way to contact me.
Excellent. Cynthia, this has been wonderful. Thank you so much for your story. Thank you for your energy and time. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you too. I really enjoyed this interview and I enjoyed meeting you. So thank you so much, Joe.
Yes, absolutely. Great to meet you. Thank you.